The point of visually representing data is to be able to get a sense of the data at a glance, rather than having to wade through all the numbers. So if we have some data, so let's just say that these are weights of carry-on luggage from a random sample of passengers, and we've got this assorted list in pounds of the weights of their luggage. We could use a bar graph to mark how frequently each number occurs, but it really wouldn't be very useful. I mean, if we look at these lists, there are a couple numbers, I think 27 and 38, that show up twice, but other than that, we would just have a very long line of little bars that are just sort of one high, going all the way from 0 up to 41, and it really wouldn't really give us all that much more information than just looking at the numbers. So another way to get a sense of data is to make a stem and leaf plot. And the purpose of this is to order the data from smallest to largest, and then to be able to see at a glance where it clumps. So I'm going to draw a little stem and leaf plot down here and label the parts of it. So a stem and leaf plot has two parts. On one side of the line goes the stem, so I'll label what the stem is. The stem is composed of the first digit or digits of the number. There should be relatively few. The leaf, let's do green for that. It's the last digit. Sometimes it'll actually be multiple digits. There are sometimes conventions where we only would use one over here, but for our purposes occasionally we'll use two. But it's the last digit or digits of the number. In order from smallest to largest. And then down here is going to be the scale. I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is going to be a lot easier if we have all these numbers in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take calculator, turn it on, and go to Stat, so this button right here, Edit. So I'm just going to hit Enter. And I'm going to enter all these numbers right here in the calculator. If you already have numbers there, then all you need to do is push the up arrow, then hit Clear, and then push the down arrow again, and that'll clear the numbers out. So let's type in these numbers. So 30, and then hit Enter, 27, 12, 42, 35, 47, 38, 36, 27, 35, 22, 17, 29, 3, 21, 0, 38. 0 is a number, it does need to go in the list. 32, 41, and 33. And let's just make sure I've got the right ones. 33, 41, 32, 38, 0, 21, 3, 29, 17, 22, 35, 27, 36, 38, 47, 35, 42, 12, 27, 30. Calculators are very useful, but you only get the right stuff out of them if you put the right stuff into them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the main screen, so I'm going to hit Second, Quit. And when I get there, if I go back to Stat, notice right here it says Sort A. Press Enter. And then down here you see a little L1. And remember that I put my values originally in this L1 list. So what I'm going to tell the calculator to do is I'm going to tell it second and then L1 to sort the L1 list in order. There it says done. Now if I go back to Stat Edit, all my numbers right here are now lined up in order from smallest to largest. So that's useful because what we're going to do is we're going to take the first digit of the numbers and we're going to put it here. Notice how there's multiple ones, there's multiple two, there's multiple threes. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to put the first digit here and then all of the numbers that have this last digit are going to go over here. So let's show what that looks like. The first thing is that we need to have all of our numbers be of the same number of digits. So 0 is going to be 0, 0, and 3 is going to be 0, 3. So this number, the first digit is 0, and the second digit is 0. That's this number right here. Now, for 3, the first digit is 0, the second digit is 3. So I'm going to go 0, leave a little space, 3. That way, if I were to go and read this off, I would say the numbers that I have are 0, 0, and 0, 3. Those are all the single digit numbers, so then we're going to do the same thing for the ones. So both of these numbers have a first digit of 1, so that's the stem. And then the leaf on the 12 is 2, and the leaf on the 17 is 7. So I would read this as 12 and 7 if I were trying to get the numbers back. Now we keep going, so our next stem is 2. We have 21, 22, 27. So 21, 22, and 27. Another 27, another, and a 29. Notice if I have 27 twice, I'm going to have 2 sevens right here. Now we're getting into the 30s. So I have 30, 32, 33, 35, 35, 36, 38. Okay. Oops, I went all the way back around to the beginning of the list. Forties, I have 41, 42, and 40, that's not right, 47. Okay, right there, 41, 42, 47. And that's the last one. So that's my stem and leaf plot. The last little piece to remember is this scale. The scale is basically just saying what are the magnitude of the numbers that I'm working with. So for example, we would make this same stem and leaf plot if we had been working with 3.0 to 0.7, 1.2, and all that kind of thing, or 0.30, 0.27, those different magnitudes of numbers. However, in this case, 41, a stem of 4 and a leaf of 1 equals 41. So just make sure to include this. Now if we look at this data, it's ordered neatly from smallest to largest, which is going to be useful in later lessons. And we can also see that the data clusters pretty smoothly around the 30s, with just a few lower values and a few of these little higher values. Let's do a second problem. So this was example 1. Let's do a second example. Create a stem and leaf plot for winning scores of basketball championships. Okay, so let's say these are the scores that we have. we'll do that same thing again. We'll go to L1, go up, hit clear, go down, that clears it out, and then we'll enter in these numbers. 143, 83, 99, 103, 110, 117, 118, 128, 106, 124, 97, 106, 103, 112. Okay, there we go. Now again, if we go to Stat, Sort, and then down here to second L1, if your values were entered in a different list, you just use the L2, L3, and so on and so forth. There it's sorted. If I go back to my list, there we go. Remember, these values have a 0 in front. If we look at these, they're really 083, 099, and 097. Now to make our stem, we have to pick what's going to be our stem, and we want to have relatively few values, but enough for it to be a little bit spread out. So if I picked 0 and 1 for my stem, then I would have just 3 numbers over here with a stem of 0, and then every single other number would have a stem of 1, and it wouldn't really sort the data out for me very usefully. However, remember, we can also make this stem the first 2 digits, in which case I would have 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, etc. up to 14, and that's a reasonable number of stems to have. So going here, so our first number is 083. Then our second stem is 09 right here. And let's see, 97, 99. And then we've got a stem of 10, 3, 3, 6, 6. Here now there's a stem of 11, 0, 2, 7, 8. Now I've got a stem of 12, 4, 8. Now notice this skips from a stem of 12 to a stem of 14. All these stems should be numbers that are next to each other. So I'm not just going to skip over 13, I'm going to write 13 as a stem, I'm going to write 14, but there are no leaves here, so I'm just going to leave this blank. 143. There's my stem and leaf plot. Now I just have to make sure to put the scale. So 1, 4 for a leaf, for a stem, and 3 for a leaf is 143. Okay, there are stem and leaf plots.